On November 6, 2025, just after nightfall, the heart of Vietnam's central coast suffered a devastating strike. Super Typhoon Kalmaegi, a ferocious Category 4 beast that exploded in strength, slammed ashore near Quang Ngai before raging inland toward Dak Lak, hurling sustained winds exceeding 140 km/h and vicious gusts approaching 170 km/h. Towering waves up to 9 meters crashed over seawalls. Devouring roads and flooding cities plunged into mandatory blackouts. Entire homes disappeared under the surge. Power towers crumpled like paper. Millions lost electricity as the typhoon howled overhead, its winds roaring like a jet engine shredding metal and concrete. Tonight, sheer survival dominates. Kalmaegi didn't merely land. It assaulted with lightning speed, savage force, and merciless fury, forcing a whole region to battle the raging sea and furious skies simultaneously. Kalmaegi hit with pinpoint destruction. At 9:45 p.m., winds surging past 145 km/h ripped into Quang Ngai's coastline. Fishing villages shattered under a storm surge nearing 3 meters, inundating coastal homes in moments. Families scrambled to rooftops as seawater blasted through living rooms, sweeping away furniture and cars into the turbulent, darkened streets. In Da Nang, rain lashed by gale-force winds shattered windows like bullets. Concrete structures shook violently. Trees broke midway and crashed onto power lines, blacking out areas over 70 kilometers inland. Radar captured Kalmaegi's rain band spanning more than 560 kilometers, swallowing Vietnam's central highlands. By midnight, the typhoon veered west, ascending mountains toward Dak Lak. The rugged terrain failed to weaken it. Instead, winds channeled through valleys like a hurricane trapped in a gorge, growing even fiercer. Gusts over 165 km/h toppled transmission towers, cutting power to millions. Roads dissolved into mud rivers. Landslides thundered down slopes, entombing highways and cutting off towns. Emergency teams pleaded with residents. Evacuation is impossible now. It's suicidal. For thousands trapped in flooded houses, all that remained was clinging desperately, praying the next blast wouldn't strip away the roof. Kalmaegi had evolved beyond a cyclone. It was a relentless power redrawing Vietnam's landscape in real time. As 2 a.m. arrived, the typhoon escalated from savage to apocalyptic. The Dak Let River burst its banks, engulfing streets and dragging market stalls into the torrent. Residents reported waters rising 1 to 1.2 meters in minutes. Flashlights blinked from rooftops where families yelled into the gale for rescue boats that couldn't navigate the chaos. In Dak Lak, far from the coast and thought secure, disaster struck fatally. Mountain runoff cascaded into streets like a breached dam. Bridges collapsed. Roads caved in. Hillside homes slid into valleys like toys swept from a shelf. In evacuation shelters, children gripped life jackets tightly. Parents whispered prayers for the walls to endure. With roads blocked and visibility zero, rescue teams waited in agony, illuminated by battery lights over maps while radios crackled with desperate pleas. "We're on the roof. Water's still rising. Nowhere left to go. Help us, please." Military UH-1 helicopters tried low-level searches but retreated as flying debris and dangling cables turned the skies lethal. On the ground, volunteers scooped water with pots from sinking homes until exhaustion won. Every minute dragged eternally. For thousands across central Vietnam, dawn seemed an impossible dream. Super Typhoon Kalmaegi wasn't random. It brewed from a lethal cocktail of conditions. Emerging in the western Pacific, it fed on oceans 2 to 3 degrees Celsius above average, a massive energy source akin to countless nuclear reactors powering it non-stop. Starting as a tropical disturbance, it exploded into a Category 4 equivalent in under 36 hours, a phenomenon experts term explosive intensification. U.S. Joint Typhoon. Warning center satellites revealed a crisp eye, 32 kilometers wide, encircled by thunderstorm walls soaring over 16 kilometers high. Pressure plummeted to extreme lows, indicating power surpassing many U.S. mainland hurricanes. Minimal wind shear allowed it to hold peak form to landfall. Most perilously, it crawled forward, stalling to unload over 60 centimeters of rain in 24 hours across Quang Ngai and Dak Lak, transforming roads into raging rivers and hillsides into cascading mud. Experts now declare this no rare freak. It's the emerging standard in a heating planet. Dawn over central Vietnam unveiled a drowned, mud-choked wasteland. In Quang Ngai, families perched barefoot on rooftops, frantically waving white cloths for aid. Some held plastic bags with salvaged essentials, birth certificates, a single phone, a child's textbook. One mother, draped in a rescue blanket, murmured, "We beat the winds." The floods blindsided us. In Dak Lak, farming villages vanished beneath sludge. Banana plantations lay flattened. Livestock perished in the deluge. A father waded chest-deep in a flooded barn, shouting his son's names into the dying roar. Hospitals brimmed over. Doctors sutured by flashlight. Nurses hauled patients upstairs as water crept in. At shelters, weary eyes fixed on doors with each rescuer's return, searching for lost loved ones. Some reunited. Many didn't. Radio bulletins relayed the toll. Dozens dead, hundreds wounded, over 250,000 displaced, millions powerless. Phones lit with trapped survivors' texts. "Still here. Come back. Don't abandon us." Kalmaegi demolished more than structures. It crushed security, showing how one night can submerge existence. Even as winds lashed valleys. Vietnam mobilized its massive rescue effort in years. Over 20,000 troops, firefighters, police, and volunteers stormed hazard zones. Amphibious vehicles plowed ruined streets. Coast Guard vessels fought 8-meter waves to reach isolated shores. Helicopters dropped lines to families signaling from roofs. Drones hunted survivors where landslides erased paths. Boats ferried the hurt through submerged avenues once bustling with scooters and cafes. Field kitchens outside shelters served hot rice porridge to kids in thermal blankets. Radios urged, "Steer clear of rivers." Dodge downed lines. "Stay away from homes." Global aid activated. Joint Typhoon Warning Center data pinpointed flood risks. UN and Red Cross rushed water, diapers, meds to hardest-hit areas. Yet, nature persisted. Ongoing rain swelled floods anew, endangering fresh evacuees. Time was critical. Choices decided fate. Kalmaegi fits a perilous trend. Satellite logs reveal western Pacific seas at record warmth. Hot water turbocharges cyclones into rapid giants. Experts flagged Kalmaigi's leap from tropical storm to super typhoon in under 24 hours as potentially routine ahead. Vietnam knows typhoons, but now they penetrate far inland, drowning safe zones. Rains shatter records. Surges claim inland blocks. Researchers link these to climate shifts. Melting ice, rising seas, air holding more moisture and heat. The debate ends on if fiercer storms arrive, only how frequently and our readiness. Americans across the Pacific heed the alert. Miami, New Orleans, Houston, Charleston share escalating threats, coastal frailties, the razor-thin line between land and ocean. Kalmaigi's ruin previews tomorrow, climate acts now. So must we. As winds eased and floods receded, Vietnam awoke to a silence heavier than the tempest. Families sifted ruined homes, mud-caked walls, shattered glass, seawater-drenched memories. Streets once vibrant with bikes and chatter echoed only distant rescue boats on former roads. Kalmaegi departed, but for millions the true ordeal, rebuilding, begins. Mothers hug children, thankful for life. Aged fishermen gaze at an alien shore. Volunteers pile sandbags for the inevitable next. Such catastrophes aren't generational anymore. They're ocean-borne alerts each season. Truth, Vietnam's plight echoes globally. From Gulf to Atlantic coasts we're linked. Storms like Kalmaegi target us all. If this grips you, like to spread awareness. Share to echo the silent rebuilders. Subscribe to stay vigilant, informed, prepared. United, we ready ourselves, endure, and rise from the wreckage.